What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another round of the Quarantine Chronicles. Today, we're going to discuss a little bit of programming. Now, with programming, I don't want to get into too much depths because in further videos, I'm going to help you learn how to set up your own program, okay? It's important because a lot of people get lost within their own fitness training. Man, I got a really good sweat going on. And actually what science can back to make you better. Now, the whole goal is almost like working backwards. You find the goal of what you're gonna want to achieve, whether it be weight loss, whether it be strength gain, whether it be power training, whether it be strength training, whatever it may be, the idea is identify the goal first, and then we can work backwards, build the map of what's gonna drive your program, okay? So with that being said, let's talk about something very simple first. There's stair steps we can take, but I want to clear something in the air to begin with. Let's talk about volume, right, or repetitions, or let's talk about intensity or weight, okay? So what we're going to do is just know, let's go ahead and put it out to begin with. There's an inverse relationship between volume and intensity, okay? Meaning reps and percentage or weight or load, however you want to look at it. So we talked about in our other videos, we talked about work to rest ratios. This will be sprinkled as another piece of how to build your programming correctly to achieve the goal you're trying to do. So understanding the inverse relationship between volume and intensity is paramount, okay? So all that means is higher reps, lower weight. Lower reps, higher weight, right? It's that simple. Let's put that into a time frame, okay? It can't be Monday, we're gonna do 3 sets of 10 repetitions. Wednesday, we're gonna do 2 sets of 4 repetitions. Friday, we're gonna do 4 sets of 4. Those all have different categories of training types and goals and outcomes that they get. So let's also put that into a season or into a time frame. So let's start with the off season. That's the easiest. That's when athletes will get just outside of their season. So they're done competing, they're done practicing. Season's over, all right? We get a little bit of time to rest, finally, right? So that just means that in the off season or at the beginning of your training, we're gonna lay down things like an aerobic base, okay? Because the entire in season, we got most of our power and agility training and plyometrics from on-field activities, okay? So that means we didn't really train it. Now, we did our power maintenance, if you want to call it that, I understand that, but also the reps and intensities, the volume and intensity sets mimic that of a maintenance. So all we're trying to do in season, right, is keep a maintenance of the off-season goals, okay, and the off-season achievements. So that's where it ended. We're gonna start in the off-season. This can also go for those of you that aren't athletes and you're just putting together a program for yourself. So the off season, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do high repetitions, okay? Laying down our base, and low intensity, so low percentage, low weight, meaning we're gonna hit our 10s, like our 3 sets of 10, our 4 sets of 10, high volume in total. Depending on the athlete and how much time they have in between their off season, right? There would be a postseason, I get it. I'm not arguing CSCS semantics. What I'm just saying is very easily put is we're gonna go from off season, right, to the beginning of the preseason. So let's take it from a dual example. 1, that'll be the athlete example. And 2, if you're just at home, give yourself at least 8 weeks for this time frame, okay? 8 to 12 weeks is that magic window where you can avoid any kind of plateauing. Your body's still adapting to a stimulus, okay? In that time frame, you won't do a 4x10 for 8 or 12 weeks, right? You'll do a stair-step down approach, okay? And you can follow this in your own programming at home. So that inverse relationship, meaning one's high, one's low, and then it switches just like this. So as you get closer and closer to the in season, or excuse me, in this case, the preseason, as you get closer to that change in goal, that change in training modality, you're gonna have a drop in volume, right? So those 8s, 10s, and 12s become 6, 8s, and 10s. And those 3, 4, and 5 sets will drop down to your 2s, 3s, and 4 sets, or maybe 5x5s. You look at it from a million different ways. You look at total training volume, which is the amount of reps times the sets in total. You look at the load volume, where you're gonna do reps, sets times the amount of weight lifted. But if you don't wanna get that crazy or that lost into your programming, follow a simple rule. As time goes on, let's start here with volume. And let's start here with intensity, okay? So I'm gonna take intensity away. Volume will have a downward trajectory like this as time goes on, okay? Intensity, or your percentage, or the amount of weight that you're lifting, will go up inversely. Remember? So we're gonna go just like this. Simply put, as time goes on, every 8 weeks or so, 10 weeks or so, 12 weeks or so, whatever time frame works for you, drop that. Let's keep it simple. 3 by 10 is what we're following for 8 to 12 weeks. That can get boring. That can get so old. And as that time continues to go along, let's say 8 weeks passes, drop that 3 by 10 to a 3 by 8 and increase the weight, okay? So let's say we're doing 3 sets of 10 with 225-pound back squat for 8 weeks. Due to the inverse relationship, we're gonna change that to a 3 by 8, right? After that 8 to 12 weeks, depending on what works for you, from 225, increase it to a percentage of your max if you have it, and if not, increase the weight to feeling, okay? So you might be able to do 3 by 8 at 245, and that's okay. I'm just demonstrating the inverse relationship. So again, as time continues to go on and on and on, remember that was 24 reps if you're looking at repetition volume. It could be whatever you want for your load volume, but that 3 by 8 is 24 reps. The intensity is low because at 8, you're working at a max 80%, right? You can move it to a 5 by 5. It's 1 extra rep, so it's increasing intensity, and you can keep it at 80%, but you'll find it doing 5s at 80% is rather easy. So moving to 5s, we're upwards of like 85%, right? Less reps, more weight, higher intensity. Now, the reason we're doing this is because we're constantly changing the stimulus, which is your weightlifting, to have training adaptation, okay? Training effect. Now, continuing on, as the volume gets lower, you went from 3 by 8, right? 8 reps. We actually started at 10s, we moved to 8s, we're down to 5s. Now we're in the preseason, all right? Now let's say we've done, in the other example, 8 weeks on of the 3 by 10. Then we did another 8 weeks of 3 by 8. Then we did another 8 weeks, we're into a 5 by 5 now, okay? Now we're getting closer. If you're in the preseason, all right, goals change, there's different rules. You're gonna increase your speed and agility work, you increase your plyometric work, you're gonna start with getting the idea of power training, okay? Again, we talked about the difference between strength and power on my last video. If you wanna know, check it out, it's highly important. So just remember, as we're getting closer and closer to in season, okay? In season's where we're gonna get into just maintenance. You're not supposed to get sore. You're not supposed to get gains. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to maintain what we achieve in the off season, okay? Off and preseason. The goal is keeping you healthy. In the collegiate setting, your workouts are about 45 minutes max. That includes your mobility work and other things. For those of you that aren't athletes, let this be a cyclical pattern, all right? It's called linear periodization, just meaning the changes are linear. Doesn't change much. There's undulated progressions. There's all kind of different microcycle variations that you can do, mesocycle variations. We don't have to get to that depth. If you would like to get in that depth, DM me, jeff@njfast.com. We can get into the craziness of principles of programming. But to keep it easy, I just want to continue to demonstrate that inverse relationship. So again, if you are now going through your 4th 8-week cycle, if you choose to do that, you've gone 3 by 10, 3 by 8, 5 by 5, right? So now we've switched from hypertrophy, which is 8 to 12 reps, right? To strength, which is around, arguably, depending on your percentage, 5 to 8 reps. And I know we can go either way. There's a million ways to think about this, but just for argument's sake, now let's switch to strength, max strength training. So we're gonna stay in the realm of doubles to 2 reps to about 5 reps, okay? So we've gone high volume, remember our volume, low intensity, our weight, and we've dropped all the way down. As our reps have dropped, the intensity has increased. That's why as our reps have dropped, we've increased the weight. There's a million ways to continue this conversation, okay? And I'd love to talk about, this is what I feel I excel at most, or at least I have a good grip on of all things. DM me, hit me in the comments, ask questions, let me know what I can do to help you. This is a long conversation, I'd love to talk it out. But for now, that's gonna be it. Just remember, inverse relationship. And switch it about every 8 to 12 weeks, okay? Change up your patterning so that you can have continuous adaptation to stimulus, okay? You get continued training effect. But for now, it's gonna be it for today, okay? I hope everyone's staying healthy, staying warm, staying happy, being well, being with the family. Just know that you can hit me up, either DMing me in the comments on my email me, jeff@njfast.com. You can go on any of our social media @njfast, or you can go to our website, njfast.com. So for now, guys, be safe. We'll see you tomorrow.